What's up, everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today we're looking at small blind. Let's get started. Maybe we should look at the ranges first. So looking at 30 big blinds. This is gonna be the type of range we're gonna be working with. So I'm not really raising that part of the deck whatsoever. I'm more like limping very, very heavy here. I'm missing this part for sure. Oh, what is it? Like suited fives, suited fours? Maybe some suited threes? And then this part here. Okay. So let's look at the whole. So jack six to jack three, you limp. Jack seven, you don't really limp anymore. So the square of raise is like this box here. Offsuit seven to offsuit nines. Okay. And then you got that square here with the big kickers. The ace six to the queen five. And then the linear part, aces to ace seven. And pocket queens. Alright. So. Looking at what we just saw, we'd always limp here normally, but
Would you?
yeah,
Well, the 10-3s and the 10-2 suiteds are high
It's like,
frequency
it's like
raises
part
on
of the
them.
boomerang.
I
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
know, that's what we just saw. It's right here. It's like the highest frequency.
So why would you always limp it?
Because in my mind, there's a simplification that if we're suited, we're just limping everything.
It's probably not the craziest thing I've heard. Why, what has brought you to that conclusion?
I didn't think there was that much raising. Is it because we're 30 big blind or like at 40? Still,
No, it's part of it's gonna be part of the range as you get shallow. As you get deeper and deeper, it kind of starts fading out.
yeah, okay. And then 20 big blinds even crazier. No, actually, seems like the widest raising range is at 30 big blinds. So this would be a one that you'd raise it very much.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You thought it was a limp.
Yeah,
You weren't, I thought you were trying to like build some
no, no,
simplified strategy or something.
no. I'm really over limping here.
Uh,
Are
I am too. I think a lot of us are.
you guys raising a lot of 10 deuce suited? I mean,
I've been focusing on this boomerang area lately, trying to play it aggressively. But I mean, like, over 40, I definitely just shut it down. I basically limp almost everything.
yeah. So we hit the pair, we don't have flush interaction
Second pair should be good enough for a barrel.
or a one?
I would probably bet two. But, you know, one wouldn't be the craziest thing, I think, since you don't have flush interaction and there is some connectivity, you might wanna, size up a smidge.
I don't know, man.
It's probably not, I mean, it's probably not crazy. I would bet two
Checking?
here.
You think checking is good?
I think typically what I've seen is like, if you have second pair or top pair, it's good enough to keep barreling in these blind versus blind situations.
You just.
Now, this is like pretty bottom of the barrel second pair, but, yeah, I'm never checking here.
So. In terms of size, what do you think is the highest frequency size? It's gonna be one, right?
I think it's gonna be 25%.
25, two? It's not one?
Mm-hmm.
I wanna go one.
Yeah, one's good.
I kinda knew it was a check, cause it's second pair and we don't have flush interaction, but you talked me into a bet. Blame's on
Second,
you.
second pair does a lot of betting in blind versus blind arrangements. It may just be the fact that this has got like straight draws everywhere and it's connected with his calling range pretty well.
Yeah, maybe we need like
Could be.
second pair with an overpair to the second pair, or second pair with some like backdoor straight, backdoor flush, or just something.
Maybe a little more juice. Like if you changed, let's say the 7 to like a deuce or something,
The real question I think here would be, if I do this and this and this. Okay, it's here, we bring up the hat. Would it be a one bet if it was limp check? Limp. Check and then. Queen, 10, 7.
think it's probably gonna be, one doesn't seem crazy. You should bet it though, I would think.
No, not really.
Don't want police to come get you, Ron.
We're gonna get them, Grayson. We're gonna get them. Uh. No, really, not betting really many tens, whether you raise it pre or you limp it. Pre. Second pair, no flush interaction. So what do we bet here then? What's that red all about? The queens? Yeah, and then a king jack off, straight, king nine off, straight. Majority with spades, yeah, makes sense. And then. What is this? 9, 6? That's a gut shot, right? That's also a gut shot. Overall, majority check. When we bet here. It's mixing, but it's using the pot the most.
Makes sense. Two straight draws, but no
Yeah,
straights on the
makes sense.
board.
Makes sense to you? You go out there on the flop from 30 big blind and you bet the pot?
I mean, like that is big bet, but it's, I think a lot of us have a simplification that's wrong. That's like small blind versus big blind, just like small bet all the time. And
Yeah.
yeah, again, two straight draws.
Seems a little bit crazy to me. But when we limp, we only have one size, but when we raise. We are polar. Okay, so we're not really gonna bet. We're gonna check, back up and check. Oh, the 7 pair, probably good for him, right?
Maybe.
We, I
Good for
mean, good
him
for,
or good for a checking range? Probably
it's
both.
good for a checking range too. We have some sevens, but like it makes it harder to get value for a 10 because then we're just beating nothing that calls us except for like draws.
Probably a little bit of both.
I think
Uh,
if you take a check line, you're not gonna open a betting dialogue on the turn, really.
Or you would with like sevens and bluffs, but like this is neither a seven nor a bluff. So
So,
You call here, I think.
yeah, normally blind versus blind, you just buckle up. How would you word this? Like you gotta fight for it? Like it's more like.
Well, you're under repped in your range, really, like. You should have a lot of air balls and things here.
Like we have to be a lot more sticky blind versus blind, right? What's a good wording for that?
I mean, yeah, it's
Well,
like you just think about your whole range. Like your whole range includes like
Honestly,
6 high, 8 high, like it includes trash.
I think about a dog fight whenever I get to this spot, kind of in game. You know? Simply because, yeah,
well, the burden's on your shoulders, right? Like, there, you can't fold and let someone else fight for the blinds. Every chip, every time you fold here, you're directly giving away your EV.
so
And it's directly benefiting that guy.
you gotta call, right? Yeah.
Maybe,
Understand,
you might block here sometimes.
big or small?
I don't think you would go big. If you went, I think you would go small if you were gonna do anything, but I'm also thinking it's probably, I would play check here, I think.
Probably a 7,
Yeah,
more like
small.
a 2. That I didn't think 2 was gonna get anything accomplished, but sure. Sure.
Before exploring a little bit further, you should look at that texture and like maybe change the 7 to like something a little less connected.
2 what?
Yeah, just put like a deuce and look at the flop strategy. Something like that. What's our second pairs doing then? Alright, so it's quite a bit more elevated now.
Yeah, it's betting more with the 10.
When you remove the 7, because it interacts really well with his call range there. He's gonna have a lot of like, he's got twice as many straight draws essentially. And then when you play limp check. Do you still just condense around a one big blind check strategy, or is
Yeah.
it going to do?
It was very clear, 1 or check.
You didn't look at this flop, though. This is what I'm saying. The 7, I think, mattered, right?
Maybe it does.
Mhm.
Um,
You can just, you're there on the flop, just, oh wait, you would have, I'm sorry, you'd have to change the small blind strategy.
this here, we're gonna scam it. And then, oh, no, it got me actually.
Yeah, just, you see where it says small blind 3.5, just hit call there.
I think it's gonna work.
And then that, now just check, and now you just put it in manually.
Ten deuce.
Yeah, something like that. So let's see what the second pairs are doing. So again, a little bit elevated compared to before. So the 7 does matter, but still for the most part,
You're betting too much second pair here, I think.
yeah, you're gonna be better served. Just check's gonna be easier.
And that 3-7 run out, I'm curious if when you block, what the big blind's response is. Like the thing about blocking, when you block these small blocks, and maybe this is just like in real life play. I think it induces a lot of bluffs, and then are you folding your second pair there? Or is it a block fold? Is that what it is?
It, it depends honestly, Josh. It might seem like it's a bluff, but I don't think many players are really bluffing often enough against a block bet.
So
So
like,
you
Looks like it's easy to stake as a bluff spot in my mind, but it's really not.
to walk through it, Josh, the flop, he checked back. So how many top pairs is he checking in position? Probably none.
Right.
A 7 would make sense because it's bottom pair. And then the 7 pairs, so he doesn't really have queen X. You have 10X, so he's saying he has a 7, and then by the time the river comes out, if he was to like turn that into a bluff, he's representing one card in the entire deck. Reliably at this point. So, I mean,
Are you block calling with your 10? Because you
Yeah,
had a 10.
sure,
I
you
think-
can't fold.
I think you're probably calling, probably.
I don't think you could fold like that high. Let's raise here.
Offsuit 7's pretty solid raise.
We just missed, we check.
I would bet it's. So like a 6 is a good barrel card, a 9 is a pretty good barrel card, a 10's not the worst barrel card. It's disconnected enough. I mean, if you don't take a stab here, like, how do you plan to win the hand?
Right. What kind of size would you go for here? A small one?
I mean, I would,
When we raise, it wants to, well, it wants to be very polar.
I would bet small here.
Think that's a good solution? That's what I thought. Oh, it's using small a lot,
Mhm.
but
It's got a big component. You're right. It's got a polar component.
it's so popped. big bet.
But
Small or 75, these are like the two major sizes.
the
Check,
polar component is probably gonna make this check more in theory.
Yeah.
Cause you're gonna have to have something that checks here. So if it is betting, it's gonna be low frequency,
yeah,
but I would bet 2 5 if that would be the size I would bet, if I was gonna bet. And when you play check, I don't know what you do. I guess you just give up.
mm-hmm,
Hold the laundry.
mm,
9 7, probably okay to raise. Um, ace high. I would be just probably betting small here. I don't know if it's good though.
I would be betting for the spade.
Spade's probably alright. Five's not crazy. A 6 is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. We do
So-
actually have a straight draw. You could pick, yeah, this is pretty good. It's pretty low in our range, like 9 high's pretty shit, so.
Do we
Yeah.
have like a big bet component here?
I would say not with this combo.
And
We
then,
do see
no,
some
but-
big betting in position spots, so that might translate here on ace wheel boards. But,
what kind
I
of
don't know.
hand would we big bet here?
Yeah, I mean, what value? Well, actually, I was gonna say what value bet small.
So
Weak
aces
aces.
will bet small.
Yeah, weak
Um,
aces.
So like 5 6 of hearts might use a bigger component. Or like 5 6, I guess it would be 5 6 off. I don't know how many 5 6 of hearts are kinda
Or
going.
maybe something a little bit lower equity, like
King 5 with the
Five.
king of spades.
I was
5
thinking a
7,
lot
5
of
8,
good
1
aces
spade.
would side up.
What was that, Louis?
I was thinking good aces would size up.
Probably.
Yeah, I
could
think you
s-
can size up starting at like ace, jack, ace, queen, ace, king, maybe, something like that. Not all the time, but some of them.
This has actually some larger betting, but for the most part, it's using a small size.
No, it's a betting.
Look at the
Half pot
frequency,
or
look at the frequencies.
50, 25.
It is going 50% of the time it's betting 4 and it's only betting to
Yeah,
16% of the
so that's
time.
like half pot, so.
Yeah, that's big, right? That's big.
But let's look at the strategy, cuz no one really knew what to do here. Oh my god, okay, so bet a lot. Let's have maybe a look at the flops. See if we can find something. Looks like it really likes a size,
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
especially ace low with a flush draw. With or without, with a flush draw. Okay, monotone. So okay, so it's all monotone. And then. Where does it start to get mixed up a little bit more? 8 7? 8 7 is where it's like, whoa. This here is 8 9. Okay, 8 7, 8 9. The floor. What's the deal here? 8 7, 8 9.
Well, I mean, the calling range is just kind of in the beefy part of their calling
8 7.
range.
As soon as the board smashes the bottom of villain's range. It looks like we're checking a lot more often.
And what's our raising range look like with regards to like interaction of 8 and 9? So we do have quite a bit that is around the 8 and the 9.
9 8 7, yeah.
Our offsuit tree is all 7, 8, 9. Our suited tree is all calling.
That's right. Yeah.
Now we have a block here. This is 10 9. 10 9, ace 10 9. And then, like, the stronger the board gets. Like double Broadway kind of. Triple Broadway, it's like, ooh. Basically giving up. Pair board, it's going for it. So three more Broadway or even two Broadways, we're checking a lot. So it's, if it's like ace, dry, we can bet. And the more connected the ace gets, the more checking we get. King eye is terrible for us. King eye is not good. Queen eye is not so good, so it seems like at the end of this portion here, it seems to be better, so what do we have at this portion of the deck? It's pair boards?
King low, low.
Yeah,
So the low cards fall in the offsuit branch where he's folded, so he's limited to one pair
Yeah,
here
and then,
a lot.
okay,
We still have all the offsuit two pairs.
and do we see the same thing around a queen low? Yeah, a little bit. It's not very obvious. 10 low? No, jack low? Oh yeah, jack low. So one high, two low, it likes these kind of spot a lot. Okay,
Yeah, it means your opponent just likely hasn't flopped a pair.
so we bet, he calls. There we are. Here we are. What are we supposed to do? I think this,
The
This-
five's actually not the worst, man.
yeah, we picked up equity here, did we
Yeah.
not?
Double barrel, 50%.
50.
Yeah, like we're polarizing here.
Hmm, I was wondering if it's ever a time that we go like big, small or something like that, but not really.
I would go bigger, no?
You don't need to.
Well, what do you
Yeah,
do with
okay.
like ace queen here? You wanna like get value, no?
No, you want to check. You're in trouble.
Ace queen?
Well, I mean, look at the
Oh, no.
SPR, like going 75, I feel like almost just isolating yourself against better hands sometimes here.
Okay. So. Okay, look at this. The ace queen wants to bet, but mostly only when it has a spade to block.
Mhm.
Front door.
Yeah, and ace kings checking.
The king as well needs a. You can double barrel if you block the flush draw.
Yep.
Or if you have an 8 or a 9 in your hand. Or a 7.
But what do you think the logic is about the 8-9?
It has to do
So,
with pre-flop ranges.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like, when we raise, what are the best ace X that he has kind of situation is one thing. So he's gonna have some 9, some 10, but not really. You see what they're all doing pre, they're jamming. So what does that make the effective nuts as far as like an ace goes? Like a 9. I
Ace nine
mean,
for a single pair.
mm-hmm.
All right, that makes sense.
I don't know, man. I'm all in. Like,
So
you're
I'm thinking about
blocking,
like,
you're
what would
blocking
be
6,
some,
7.
yeah, like six would be a really awesome card to have in hand. Seven is still good.
Spade
This
is
is still
bad
pretty
here.
much bottom of range.
I
Spade is
think,
bad.
I kinda think 7 is better than 6, and I think 7's better than 6 because we need him to be continuing with 6x on the turn and bricking. Which, he's gonna be continuing less with a gut shot on the turn and more with the open ender. 9 high is like bottom of the range. We don't have anything. If I was gonna be picky about it, I would say having a spade's not optimal.
Also,
But
the ace is a great card to bluff, right?
it's pretty good when we go triple, when we go bet. Like, no, I'm wrong.
Machine says no.
So look at let's construct the range real quick. And see where it's actually pulling from. So first question is like, does it prefer 6s? Does it have sevens? Sixes, Tim was right, okay. Sixes seem to be the more popular of the six and the seven.
So
Look at
why are
nines,
we such in a small portion of the tree? Is it
cause
because?
you took a weird bet size
Well,
somewhere.
it's also like we shouldn't beat ourselves up too much on river because there's just everything gets very dispersed across a lot of branches of the tree when every node has like 5 bet sizes. So it doesn't mean
Right.
that this line is so weird.
So it's really the turn barrel that is not a high frequency thing. We should have sized up, right? Okay, so say we sized up on a turn. 'Cause
What
it
did you
also
bet?
makes sense.
Wait,
I
but you
went,
bet 50. 50 was reasonable.
50
Yeah.
was reasonable. I think the primary node was checking.
and then the river was the,
Galen, let's be serious.
I know, I know.
what was the river?
Ace of clubs.
Oh.
Hey, weird. Where's everything at? It's the same thing, but to drive home the point, like I was saying, the spade actually is more impactful here on the river than I initially had thought.
See,
So-
because if we polarize the turn, jamming the river with this is a thing. It was not a thing at all.
No, it was. You didn't look at it. It definitely was a thing.
It
It's
was?
just we had the spade.
It seems like the spade is a big deal because that unblocks the
Yeah.
flush draw.
See, it is a thing. It's just the spade. And it's like different combos of the spade. See, when you go 50, even some of the spades are still going for it. It's like picking and choosing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say we got unlucky, okay? I'm just gonna say I got unlucky.
Is that what you're
But
gonna
nine,
write?
seven, no spades, uh, continues with the jam here, right?
Investors report, we got unlucky?
Yeah, that's it, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, we got six,
Oh my
dude.
god, he has the
He's got
turned nuts with the redraw. Give me a
Yeah, but
break.
he has the nuts. That's funny. King eight,
But I was gonna say on that last one, I think that
Okay.
I was thinking about 6 deuce being in his range because he just flat 6 deuce suited in position against a
He-
raise. So
he
like that's why the
should.
6 is relevant because there are 2 straights to block.
He should. I would play limp here.
With you.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah, limp king 8 suited. It's not good enough to raise. It's not a bluff.
We are
Easy call.
calling.
Easy call.
Alright, so where are the raises coming from here? What are your limp raises coming from with regards to kings?
I just blew not limp raise.
No, you do. You do. Like king six, king five off, like, I think you're gonna be pulling from that region. I
I
don't think
do
you,
it with like ace jack.
well, duh, man, that's the easy one.
Yeah,
Like,
that's all I need. Ace jack.
okay, so it's not doing it from those reasons. You got a smidge of king seven.
I ain't doing
Maybe,
it enough with ace ten.
maybe we're just too shallow.
It's really these you wanna do it with.
Yeah.
And then king seven.
So what do they, ace, queen, ace, jack, ace ten, are they checking a wide percentage of the time, large time?
So the way
Every
that
time.
range works, Josh, is typically blind versus blind, a small blind. You always protect, I would say almost always protect your limping range with your strong offsuit ace X. As you get deeper, you'll see maybe some more ace king sneaking in there, but yeah, it's ace ten through ace queen is like the meat and potatoes protecting your limp range, typically.
Yeah, so king eight, king seven here, we go crazy.
Ooh, this is an interesting flop. So we'd play check to start. Pretty sure. Do we ever actually? Man, you might see some leads here. The 10-9.
It was like ten low. This is not ten low.
It's not always 10 low. It's like middling connected cards because he's raising a polarized strategy, right?
If it's not ten low, we need the card of the suit.
Think you might be surprised on 9-10-3, but I
Why?
would play check.
Why would I be surprised?
Okay, so like, what is the big blind raise? What's the big blind raising strategy versus a limp? Is it condensed? Is it polarized?
He's very polar.
Right, so,
Raising the junk.
so how many tens and nines are in a polar range?
So when he just call, hang on,
Doesn't he have a lot of offsuit tens? low.
Not as many as you would think, Darren. I don't think. So he's got some, but like the meat and potatoes kind of like is. The frequencies kind of drop off around tens and like the connectivity in the nines to tens and things like that.
We're looking for a flat bet here, basically. We're wondering. If it's a good one or a bad one. Raising
Um,
calls.
I'm not too excited about donking here. To be honest, I would probably just play limp, but these type of middling textures do have some donking behaviors that are like not typical to other arrangements. So you got a little bit here,
Yeah.
not really. If you didn't have a king, let's say you had like 8-7 or
Yeah, I think it's more a question of the suit.
could be, definitely could be,
A king eight off with one spade.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. But like, okay, so look at this. It's actually pretty prominent and you see it kind of condensing around top pair and like connective draws. And like Louis was pointing out, the spade is a pretty integral part of the strategy as well.
Yeah.
So like Jack five, for instance, like look at Jack five suited. I mean, pretty bananas, right?
Mhm.
And this strategy explodes the more condensed the board
So,
gets.
Jack, because it could be the upper part of the straight, queen as well, king a little bit less, so it's doing it less. Am I seeing this right?
I think maybe not with the jack. Well, maybe with the jack because
9-10 jack,
Yeah, I think you're spot on the lowest overcard.
and then the
Maybe.
further you
Action.
get from a chance, the less it's a thing.
Are you saying replace the three with a jack? Okay, I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
I
no.
misunderstood. You're
We have
completely
jack
correct.
five, so we have what could be the upper portion of the straight.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Okay, so we check. At this point, do we
Um,
take king eye showdown or do we pick up, like we pick up equity?
yeah, that's a good question, Louis. You got two competing factors here.
We
King
get a
high,
size, we get a size to fold.
yeah, king
Yeah.
high's pretty good though, but
You gotta stab once, do you not?
so if you had
Nope.
queen eight, I would be going pretty bananas here.
Yeah.
Queen eight, jack eight.
Queen
Not
eight, jack eight
ace
is
eight.
probably not ace eight and king eight.
Let's see,
So queen eight, I would expect a very polar bet out of.
queen eight,
Yep,
jack
Ken,
eight,
you're spot
not
on.
the king eight or ace eight.
King
So
eight
king-
showdown.
Yeah, we're just gonna take king eight to the streets. We're gonna protect our equity, try to get it to showdown. Ooh, I don't think we get to fold. I don't think we get to fold. Now, the question is, do you ever turn like?
What is he doing?
Do you have a bluff range here? Like,
Calm down. First, what is he doing?
he threw a pot sized bet at you on a check flop.
I know, why would he do that? He wants us to fold.
So he's polarized. He's at the top of his range or the bottom of his range. But the problem is, we barely beat the bottom of his range here.
We definitely beat the bottom of his range. The stuff that he's polarizing is worse than this.
He's got 5-4 in this range.
Yeah. He's got
Okay,
jack
so
high.
having
seven.
an eight is probably not good here, cuz we block, queen eight, king eight.
I don't know
Yeah,
if
but we
having an
block
eight's bad,
value
actually.
too.
I
Seven
think,
gonna
eight,
no,
say-
it's
seven eight's
really bad
nuts.
here.
You think the king's bad or the eight?
The eight, cuz we block the barrels with eight X.
He would be
No,
doing
but
this with
the-
7x also.
Yeah, but it's the same, right? King seven or king eight, you block, it's a bad blocker.
So
It
one of the
looks like-
things.
looks like a good
I don't agree
blocker
with that.
because
It's
you
a
block the
blocker
straight.
because he wants to bluff it because it's the value as well. So like it cuts both ways.
Yeah, I'm kind of on Tim's team with this. Also, the other thing is like when you're constructing a bluff range, it usually bluffs from the bottom. If there's two cards to a straight like this, like it's gonna pick more 7x to go 8 big blinds with here than 8x.
I think it's the same, no?
And that's not been the experience I've seen in the past.
Okay.
Because if you do both of them, you're over bluffing typically. And we kind of saw that behavior like a couple hands ago with the 6 and the 7, right? Like Tim said the 6. I was thinking the 7 because you need him to have sixes, and it was actually the other way around. He was bluffing with the sixes.
So say we had king, jack. Which one do you prefer here? King eight or king jack?
King, jack, I think is a pretty slam dunk continue, because a jack could be good, a queen's good, a king could be good. This is, this is better than, this is better than king 7 and worse than king jack, which, matches up with its absolute values also.
So what do we think the value, the bottom of his value range is with this polarized bet?
The bottom of his value range, like what is he doing
Good-
this
Good
with?
tens.
Does he do it with just a 10 or does he do it with something better than?
See, man,
After
it's
two
tough.
checks, yeah, after
It's-
two checks, I think he does this with 2-10 with. the
Maybe
10.
like, maybe he's got like strong 9x here, like 8, 9 could
Yeah,
be
8,
doing
9.
this.
But I have to remember
Ace
this
nine.
now,
Louis, can we look at his strategy here?
yeah,
It's kind of weird because like, he doesn't check a ton of 10x on the flop, I don't think.
that's the first thing, right? How many tens does he have here? Okay,
None.
so
He's got like, he's got the nuts sometimes. That's about it.
got no ten at all.
No,
He's
look
got-
down at his offsuit. He's got
Yeah,
some
he's
10-6,
got
10-5,
the,
10-4, 10-3.
right, he's got the worst tens, I guess, at some
Yeah.
frequency. That's fair. So he could have a 10.
So
And
you could
honestly,
have 10-6 or 10-3.
10-4 would be, well, I don't know. Would you wanna go crazy with 10-4?
10-6 and 10-3 are the ones he checks the most, right?
Yeah, he definitely could have, some
And-
sneaky two
And
pairs.
this here is probably what two pair would do, right?
That's
I
what
think-
I'm, so can we look at the $8 bet, the range of the $8?
Here it is.
So he is polar here 14% of the time, and it's along this 10 axis, so it's like he's saying he's got a 10. And he is waking up with 9x here, which is kind of the interesting question I had.
And then let's look for some bluffs. A little bit of queen
He's
eight,
got queen
king eight, king
7.
7, yeah.
So look at the difference between the 8s and the 7s as we were kind of talking about a second ago.
He's doing it
see-
a lot with the sevens, right?
So let me tell you why I asked the
Less
question,
with
because
the eights.
I'm trying to think about, one of the benefits of, kind of trying to split your calling range against this polarized bet is, is there an ability to improve? So I kind of want to know what value I can improve to. So like the overs, like when you were talking about calling with some of the overs as opposed to with the eight's not an over, you kind of were shying away from it. So like king jack would be, you got, in addition to the gutter, you've got the overs. But if it's not an over to two pair, like it doesn't improve, is what I was trying to. So I'm trying to figure out if it's mostly two pair or if there's a lot of just one pair betting. And it looks like there's a lot of one pair betting, the 9 mostly,
There
right?
should be, Josh. There should be, so like, it's gonna be threefold. At the top of his value range, he's gonna have two pairs. We're blocking the straight, but he will have like the occasional straight, not very often. Then it's gonna be like blocker oriented stuff that can't really show down. So like jack high, queen high stuff with a relevant card like a 7. And then it's gonna be like. What I was curious about was how far down his value range he was kind of stretching. Like, since we played check, check on the flop, it kind of strips top pair from us when we check twice to him from the small blind. So now he's feeling emboldened with his 9x to get value from maybe, draws and things like that. That we're trying to protect, or maybe even like ace high. So it's pretty interesting. I still think we call here.
So yeah, but hang on, let's go back to this here.
Okay,
It's folding sevens, it's calling eights. So
Yeah.
having a 7 is worse than having an 8.
well, that's what I was explaining to you earlier. Like, you're blocking the bluffs when you have a 7 here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of what's going on. Although the king eight's kind of, well, okay, I see now why maybe we're letting go of king 8 here. Cause queen 8 is basically a draw to the super nuts.
Yeah.
And ace 8 is just absolute hand strength beats some of the other hands.
So back to the spot size, we just fold.
That's what it kind of looked like there. I would have made a mistake and maybe called here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so given the action, he felt emboldened with a very strong second pair,
Yeah,
which makes sense. It's good. That's kind of the mark of a good player, I think, when you play in game, how far they can stretch down their value range with really polar bets.
Right, because it
Seven,
requires that sensitivity to the action. It's like, right, it's not a great hand on the flop, but like after 2 checks, it is a great hand.
yeah, you just have to be, there's a level of awareness. I would raise this, by the way, Lou. I don't know if it's great. Maybe having the five's not super great, but having a seven's alright.
in my mind, it's more of a limp.
Maybe. I could definitely see, merit in that. That's how the balance strategy is approaching it. We have
But,
7 high, we have 3 to a straight.
I don't know, man. How
Check
about
fold.
we,
2.
how about we chop the pot and get our blinds back?
No,
Well,
no,
we
no,
do that all
no,
the time live.
no, 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 no. I think, okay, so I think one big blind's the obvious answer here. You're not playing check, right? But
Yeah.
what
Very
are
big.
you, we're just gonna, we're just gonna play a friendly game of check 7 high down?
I guess.
Yeah.
You wanna bet one?
I was considering betting 2. I thought 1 was just like stock and standard what we were doing here.
Ah,
So 7-5 with backdoors would bet this, right? But the non-backdoor variety doesn't.
I don't know. Well, I
So,
guess you're right.
Yep.
seems, yeah, I mean, that's like,
Yeah, clubs checks, all the others bet. So
I would
pretty
have
reasonable.
I would have pretty strong convictions if you guys are trying to check back. 7-5 with backdoors.
Well, and you'd be right, right? They're all
Yeah.
betting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They are.
Well, when you have the back doors, you just have a lot more barrel cards. Like when you bet one, it's just gonna be hard.
Well, that seems to be a really big part of this whole, when you're wide versus wide, your ability to continue with the story, the likelihood that you're going to have a barrel card seems to drive a lot of your betting decisions.
Yeah, I mean, the game as a whole has that, but it is definitely integral blind versus blind. It shines a bit more, right?
Yeah,
Don't-
that's what I'm
don't-
saying. Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Louis. Come on, man. Raise.
You wanna raise?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I wanna raise.
Okay. Here we go.
And
Big.
well,
Well, we can
I
bet,
like check.
right? We have a spade.
Check.
No.
Peter,
Peter. We have a
Peter,
spade, we have the upper part of the straight,
Yeah,
blasphemy.
king five off. So this is a pretty good bet, I think.
I would like to bet.
What size?
Okay, like I'm,
50%.
I don't hate 50%. I'm just curious, like if we need to size up here.
Maybe just 25, right?
Yeah, I go back and forth, like having the spade is kind of attractive. I did want to size up some, but,
Big board check.
Like, yeah. Pretty big.
so we have the spade and I wonder if you would be more condensed if you didn't have the spade.
I wouldn't bet fine without the spade.
I think I'd bet small if I didn't have the spade. I was wanting to bet larger because I had the spade.
I just don't think it's really a small bet board very much.
Not really, right? So having the spade is really driving the action and then kind of what you're talking about, no spade. It starts leaning a lot more on the check factor.
Yeah, there's locked up equity here, like, and I mean, you're just gonna be, there's gonna be too many hands where you punt if you just bet big too often here.
So we bet big, he calls,
Get a brick.
kind of. He does have some flush draws now that may have picked up. But I mean, as
Stuff.
far as like hand rank, I don't do it all in, it's not
Do
the
it.
craziest thing. Like, what else are we gonna do here?
You bet polarized and he called. I mean, you have some showdown with king high, you can give up.
So he's gonna
What?
have, to.
Peter,
so,
We don't have
Peter,
showdown.
there's
That's
20
the
big
thing. On
blinds
this
in the
line,
middle. How could
we
you
have
still
showdown
get
with
with
error
king five
intent.
off?
Peter, you're
We
gonna
don't have
lose the
showdown.
hand to jack five of clubs or something ridiculous. Not jack five of clubs, but like jack six of clubs or
10-8,
something.
10-8, yeah.
Yeah, 10-8.
10-8.
There's no way we can do this, Pete.
Alright, good luck.
Oh my,
Barbecue! Barbecue!
we're toasting here.
Yeah, that's not that bad,
Oh, sorry.
I
right?
do admire the conviction.
Who ordered the well done?
So, just for investigatory purposes, what if it was the four of clubs, like a true brick?
Think it matters?
Maybe.
That's a little different. Then he doesn't have as many natural continues on the turn. Maybe I can get behind barbecuing some more chips, but not with the king of spades.
It does want a barbecue, but not necessarily with the king
Well,
of
hang on. What is this
spades.
Yeah.
node here? 10%?
Yeah,
Oh,
you unblock him having a flush draw and you can price out the flush draw because there's locked up equity.
Okay, there you go. Is this the right node? Are we on the
yeah,
right node
this
now?
is the node.
Okay, so
King of spade is.
it actually flips the script a little bit on the spade, but it does continue.
Okay.
It is pretty good. Now, if we, okay, now bring in the spade, three of spades.
But the thing is, what I'm guessing is here, we don't have the other ones because we only bet the spades on this flop.
You do bet the other ones at some reasonable clip. I mean, it was like 30% or something. It's not the craziest thing.
What do you want to do?
I was curious, like a three of spades, just to kinda finish the trifecta of threes.
With a spade, you blast.
Do we?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, now you can jam. That's where the jam strategy comes in.
We need a spade to bluff. We got a call here.
Yeah, it's a good price. Or better.
You definitely, wow, get out of here. I am flabbergasted. It's actually folding some.
Yeah, we're really in deep waters with the king five off.
Man, I am mentally overvaluing this king blind versus blind.
But
Yeah, but-
depends. No, it loses.
Oh, he got us with a 9. Gross.
Alright, same story. I would raise here.
Another opportunity to overvalue.
Yep, gotta lose some chips. Let's go.
Pretty wild. Alright, so we have a ace high relatively dry flop.
Check.
Check. I would bet.
2.
It's ace low, no?
I'm just
I
betting.
mean, it's just
Ace mid low, and we have a king high. I can get
With
behind
the-
betting queen 6, jack 6, 10 6, 9 6.
Yeah, so I
Right?
think it's a heavy bet here.
I'm
You know what,
just
check a
Peter? We're
king.
driving a car and it doesn't have brakes, okay? Like,
We're driving.
I don't know what you want me to do.
Ace. That's right.
going to
That's how
triple
I
off.
play. Let's bet.
we're going to triple off. We're
Woo!
going to do it this hand.
Uh,
If
it's-
somehow we
it's
get there,
so-
we're gonna triple off next hand, okay?
Like, it's one of these things, okay? Like, when you're playing a bet strategy and you're out of position. Like, you gotta kinda keep going here. I kinda look at it like button versus big blind. The guy's got a capped range, we have an uncapped range. I think that's gonna override the, absolute hand strength thing here a lot. Like, I don't know, if I had an ace high dry board like this from the cutoff or the button versus the big blind, I'm just betting. It's like, I don't even care what my cards are at this point.
So I get that, but like, going to the point that, maybe you bet a queen and a jack, but not a king. Is there a king with a better kicker that you actually slow down with?
I would probably start leaning more towards the check area then. Like, okay, if you have king, queen off or something like that here,
Exactly.
I think that makes a lot more sense to play check with.
Louis, can we see that?
Why would you check king queen?
You have a lot of showdown value.
Well, it is literally the best hand that's not paired.
I
Because
agree.
when it checks
but
down, you're gonna win.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's just this texture with just range bet.
It's just a range bet texture, back to the point. Yeah,
All right,
that's
that's a
it.
good one. I got it.
Yep, simple as.
We bet, this is actually a pretty good double barrel card
King of
for
diamonds.
quite a bit of reasons.
The main one being we have the king of diamonds in our hand.
Yeah, that's like it, really. I don't even really need to see my other card at this point. I'm just gonna bet because I have the
Do
king
you
of
see
diamonds.
how far fetched it could be for like somebody who's beginning?
Yeah, no, for real,
Yeah,
yeah, like,
this is like blowing me away. So I agree completely. This is so like this is like a completely different game.
So we go 6 or 9. Gotta convince him.
man, you gotta be convincing here, cause you have king high.
Either, I think either, those bets are pretty close in size, honestly. Like, I'm not
No,
splitting my
no,
range
no,
between
no,
those
no,
two
Can
no,
we
no.
sizes.
pull up some 12
No,
sometimes?
no, 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 no,
No,
no,
that's so
no.
unnecessary.
It's gonna be 50 or, no, you were right. It's
Oh,
really polar, man. It's
Yeah.
really
It's
polar.
unnecessary, but it's right. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Check that king high.
yeah. Or
I
black.
don't know, just like in practice, my only sizing on this turn
Oh,
is
no.
GO2.
I think we're cooked
I
here.
agree.
My alarm bell says we should not bet anymore.
Yeah, we're done. We're so done. We're so done.
Yeah, we actually have pretty bad cards here after it goes call, I think.
Are we?
Yeah, big time.
I don't know, man,
Do you
like,
think we can back off from it? I think we made our bet already, have we not?
So
You
doesn't
might
this where isn't this where this comes in, which this king high showdown value comes in, which because if he also was, just calling to draws and things like that, aren't we gonna win this sometimes with a check?
Okay,
Yes.
in general, you guys are forgetting something, okay? Showdown value is gonna be good when it goes check, 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 check. The pot is 40 big blinds here. There's no way you win with a king here.
So there's a couple
Yeah, right.
things here, thinking about this exact combo, right? Like, on the turn, he's continuing with diamonds. We have a pretty critical diamond. That's a check in the bad box. Alright?
Yep.
We have a 6. Hands he's gonna continue with have a 6 and a 7 on the flop in the turn. We have a 6. That's a check for a bad card. Hands he's continuing with on the flop are ones that have back doors. Okay, we block 2 of the back doors. We've already talked about diamonds, but we have a spade also. That's not very good. We have a pretty naked king high here. If it goes check, check, we do win sometimes. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, so what I just heard, which I think is compelling, is you just described a lot of blockers to his draws, and therefore this skews towards his value, which means we're gonna lose.
Exactly,
But I view
but
this as a give up at this point then.
kind of, but Louis has making another point which tips the scales a lot of the times. 36 in the middle, we have 12 behind. You do not have to get him to fold very frequently to make this a very profitable shove. And it's a balancing game of how often do we check and he checks back and we win versus how often do we jam and he folds.
So is he ever folding an ace whatsoever? I don't think so.
Negative,
No,
negative.
no.
So his
Well, that's the
aces
thing, and
all
his
got
eights-
stronger because they have aces and eights with the jack kicker now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're not,
like
you're
his
not
never
eights, of
folding
course, are
ace.
the nuts now.
You are getting folds from like, I
Better
don't
king eyes.
know. I don't know, man. Like even
Better-
the 8,
Better king eyes.
dude, like the 8's kind of a bad one also because
Yep.
like he's gonna continue with like 8, maybe 8s with diamond, like 2, he's got the 8 of diamonds and something else. Now that's
Yep.
trips, so you're not getting him off that.
Yeah, but hang on, how many eights does he call a pot size bet on the turn with?
A lot when they have
Eights
flush
with
interaction.
diamonds, like
Yeah, a
Dion
lot.
said, that he has basically every 8x with
Barely
diamonds.
anything
Like,
is
he has
folding
8-4,
here,
8
using the
jack,
same
8
logic.
queen.
So we've
Maybe
basically
maybe not
figured it
Yeah,
out.
I agree,
It has
Gabriel.
the full house.
Yeah, so give up.
If you're jamming, you're targeting exclusively hands like queen 10 of diamonds or
Which we
Eh,
beat.
Okay, so we
weird.
check here, but if it was the 8 of diamonds, we would bluff, right?
Oh, yeah, bluff the 8 of diamonds, easy.
I would agree. 8 of diamonds, I would be way more likely to pull the trigger. But
Okay,
here I wanna check and we kinda solved the puzzle.
Oh, look at
Now,
that, and it's worth 2 big blinds to check. We expect to win sometimes. We have showdown.
and you should win sometime. So now let's investigate the 8 of diamonds.
I really think with the king of diamonds, that's just gonna be the card we bomb it.
woo,
And we do. Okay,
yeah,
so
that's what-
passes
That's
the,
why we were tripling with his hand, is in order to bomb rivers like that.
now
this
another
portion
interesting
of the
one.
strategy is good, right?
Okay,
else?
another good one would be, if you put a 7, like 7 of clubs. Are you firing? Something that completes that like middling straight since we have a
Which we
six
block,
here.
right?
Yeah,
No, I think we really need that. When you make this bluff on the turn, you really need a diamond here.
yeah, that's fine. Well, let's just take a look. Just see kinda like how it's constructing that.
What?
I think you're right. The diamond is definitely a more key component, but this still might be enough.
Looks like it is. What did
Yep.
you think? King six?
Yeah, and it's actually really good at this point. Like, it doesn't even care about suits at this point because. Yeah, so the seven's good. Now I would start being curious about cards like a four, like an offsuit four and things like that. Just to kind of test the hypothesis a little bit further. Pretty good barrel card, sending it. Now, the last one I'm kind of curious about would be like a queen or a ten. Offsuit queen or ten, because we have the king and we kind of interact with that stuff as well. I would imagine we're still probably going boom, boom with it. Yeah, you still are. You're still barreling a ten.
Yeah, our range is barreling a lot more there.
Yep. We don't interact with, well, with a nine at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because a bunch of our bluffs get there with a 10.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, they do.
9, king, queen.
I would be kind of curious, following Gabe's thought process. So like, is a nine a give up card now? I think a nine would be a give up card. With our hand. And there you go.
And
Still
the
good.
point is, you gotta block these nutted completed draws in order to continue on the river with the bluff, is what I'm seeing. You're
It's-
looking for cards that complete a draw, straight or flush draw, that incents you to tell that story.
It's
Because
very
you-
dicey because sometimes it's
Mhm.
really good, sometimes it's really bad. So you need to be cautious.
Yeah, like, that's why like, you gotta really think deep about some of these spots because it doesn't take very many big mistakes for you to completely be punting off your stack here. Like,
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, 12 big blinds is real, and you're giving up your tournament here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're jungling with fire a little bit here. Oh, you're
it actually,
calling? Did you
actually
see
hero
that?
calls sometimes. It's the same philosophy. You don't have to be right that often, right? So you're just kind of,
Yeah. Okay, the
Raise.
10-3 off. That's junk. We fold.
do you, or do you limp?
I think it's too low.
See, I would limp this, but
Just junk.
it's right there.
Well, it's like all your give ups are in the threes and the twos, but
Pretty much.
some of
offsuit.
the top cards change that, right? So 10-3 is a mix,
You
but
need like a jack.
Jack-3 isn't. So once you get, okay.
I mean, the nine kind of makes me want to raise, but the five is blocking his fold, so I would just complete a lot, I guess.
Yeah,
Limp, give up.
Limp win the pot.
check here.
We do have bottom pair, but he checked back, so I don't know how many king and jacks he has.
He
I
definitely has some like
mean,
raggedy stuff.
I would be tempted to bet one, but I don't know, man. It's probably fine to play check.
Do we have any check raises here?
That's a good question, Gabe. Um,
Hmm,
I don't know if you wanna check raise bottom pair. Here. But maybe.
I like check raising
Because-
bottom pair.
because-
Why not?
The nine is, well, maybe not with the 9, but maybe with other kind of
Yeah.
drawy.
in my mind,
Cards with
in
backdoor.
general, like on the flop, blind against blind, don't have much raising whatsoever.
Mhm.
But like it's it's not a big raising
You
strength.
can see like 10-9 off, like some of these more drawy, like gut shots do try to do that.
Yeah, 8-9. 8-9's a pretty interesting one. 10-7's doing it.
Yeah, we have a bunch of big kings that want to go for value here. So when they do that, we're gonna have to find some bluffs. So
Yeah.
yeah, cards that kind of wrap around the 5.
And ones that wrap around the jack or are below the jack.
Yeah. And
That's
yeah,
why
the,
I saw the 9, like us having the 9. I was curious if that was an element of the strategy as well.
9-8, 9-7, 10-8, all those.
So in general, the 5x are pretty passive.
Hey, can I ask an in-game thing? So in reality, are you assuming that most of your players are underplaying these exit hands? They're not calling enough or playing enough?
That's a good question, Josh. Like, this is one thing, like when you're studying this stuff, like this is not convert 1-to-1 to like actually in the field at all. People like don't appropriately polarize blind versus blind.
I think they're unloading. I mean, I think they're just folding more than GTO would suggest.
Oh, well, they are. I mean,
Sure.
I don't think anyone here would argue that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I always, when I'm looking at these GTO solutions, I'm always asking, okay, what is the population error that I want to keep in mind
Well,
when I'm facing
if
mixes?
you listen to Matt Affleck here, he has a suggestion. It's more like the other way around. He says people don't ISO the small blind enough. So he likes to limp 100%.
Right.
That's his suggestion. So if
Hmm.
you're looking for something that is like approved by a big name, that's.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Check here.
Check and win.
You've committed to this showing down your pair of 5s, so show it down.
Okay. I was.
Oh, it wants to go one big blind. What are we accomplishing with that?
It's value betting it
Ace high is gonna call.
because it earns 2 chips. Ace high has to call.
7
Seven
deuce.
deuce.
Get wrecked, nerds.
I
So like
got-
this, Josh, in theory, everyone's like fold. I would limp this in game. And this would be like one of those deviations.
Yeah.
So ace 9 is right below like that protective part. I think it mixes.
I think it's the bottom of the like 10% we limp jam and 90% we raise, we limp.
Yes, that seems reasonable, Louis.
Yeah,
It's like right there, it's mixing. It actually just jams sometimes. That's kinda weird.
open jamming is a bit weird, right? 30 big blinds.
It feels a bit much.
I think it's the floor of the limp jam as well, like we limp, he raise.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's in there.
Floor.
It's part of that. Yeah, so just put it in his face now.
Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my god.
Alright, I'm complaining about this one in chat.
Wanna speak to the manager now.
Exactly. Alright, middling connected makes a good limp.
Middling connected?
Yeah,
Limping all the unsuited connectors.
That's what I had in my mind. I was trying to structure it like, yeah.
Well, the more connected the cards are, the more they're prone to limping. You do continue with this.
Do you continue with 10-8?
8-10 may be kind of cuspy.
No, I said 10-8.
10, yeah, that's what I was saying with an 8. It may be a little
But
more.
no,
cuspy.
You
if
said
this
8-10, I
is
said
worth
10-8.
0.6 big blinds, then
Same
10 is still gonna go
difference.
for it.
I think so too, Tim. I think it's still continuing.
10-8 is in there or no?
I think,
100%.
yeah.
10-7.
It's the 7s is where it starts drawing the line a little bit.
I'm in there with offsuit 8s every time, but offsuit 7s. If you're doing this to me while I have 10-7, you're exploiting me.
Check. Or do you check? Yeah, see, it's that same behavior.
You
9,
don't.
10, 9, 10 low, kind of like drawy and connected.
I think it's just because we have 2 pair and a spade.
Well, look at the range, man. It's the same thing that we saw earlier. Like
This-
the whole, like, look, a big component. It's not just like about that. I mean, you got queen six doing these shenanigans. You out there doing it with, bottom pair even, like, look at king five.
King five, no spade.
King five, get out of my pot.
So a little bet here.
You could, or you could play check. He calls.
Uh-oh,
Is that good or bad?
not sure. Seems good. We have the nine of spades, so who cares?
I would say this is a spot where I would go small, I think.
Like 50%?
I wouldn't go bigger than 50. I might even go quarter.
Yeah,
So
I
if you
think-
get raised, what's your response?
You gotta continue.
yeah, you gotta continue. You're beating bluffs and you have redraws.
You're
It's kind of
beating like,
easy, Josh, cuz you look at SPR. Like SPR two, I think I'm going even with top pair here.
yeah, like you just can't really do much, but, I was wrong about small by a pretty. Like, this nine
Sizing
just,
up.
the nine completes so many draws and things that. He's gonna have like queens here that are just gonna get put in the box. He's gonna have like spades. Like if he has the jack of spades here, it's like, what does he do? Like you just put your chips in. So, we actually go quite greedy. This small was not a good strategy.
I am kind of curious about this. You know, I get you got to continue. You're going to stay with it. So if on the flop, if you continue 50% bet, he comes back over the top, and then he continues that on the turn big. At what point do you give up? I mean, what's your? I mean,
With
are you
what
still
hand?
going with it? With top
Yeah,
pair?
that's the problem, Wash, is, you would do. So.
You're
But the
just
second
going, I
bet, I
think.
mean, what do you do to the second bet is what I'm asking, when he continues after the check.
Well, so like, go and kind of construct what their calling range is, and then like, find me a couple hands in your mind when he raises the flop that beats our hand. Okay, so let's look at 5-5. If you raise, if he should be raising 5-5 some, so it's not like impossible that he has 5-5.
But as I was saying earlier, I don't think he's in position. He has a lot of raising in his strategy. It's like call.
But he went versus a limp. I was just saying like pre-flop, but I mean, generally, it looks like you're right. I mean, all of these hands we beat. Like, I don't see a single hand here that we really care about that he
No,
should.
so just to be clear, I'm never folding top two. in
Yeah,
this
no, it's the
situation.
question. Yeah, it's the
But
question.
the question is on the river. So now the river completes the flush. Wasn't it a Broadway flush card? What was
It was
the
the
turn? The turn is what.
queen. Yeah, we brought in the
So the
queen.
queen is, I mean, so a lower spade would be more, well, I guess but whatever. So the spade comes in and he continues. So he does have some spade bluffs, right? So now he could have improved to beat us, right?
Sure. He definitely could have he could have a flush here.
Before the turn, his spades are not bluffed. They have a great amount of equity.
Yeah, I mean, even if he has
Oh.
like, even if he's making a mistake and raising like, random flush draws. A lot, like, okay, so let's say he has 6-7. Okay, like he's got straight draws, flush draws, he's got all kinds of stuff. We still have spade redraws, we have full house redraws, like,
Yeah, you're right. I got it. And then I guess to the point, to Louis' point, you're right. He's probably not doing this with the naked flush draw, but he might be doing this with a combo draw, but the queen blocks a lot of those combo draws. So yeah, I think you just got to
does.
hang on. But if this was the queen, you know, the three of spades, it would be a little bit.
A little dicier, right?
Yeah, okay. All right.
When I mean, think of it this way, like his entire range is composed of lots of tens, lots of nines, lots of queens, because he has all kinds of queen jack, queen king that continues, lots of single spades, lots of smaller pairs that have one spade. So our value is still ahead of a lot of his value here, and our draw is still very live against what he has in his hand. So our hand, while it lost a little bit of upfront strength with 10-9, 10-9 is still really strong. We picked up equity with having a flush draw for the times when we are beat, like in case he has, queen nine.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Yeah,
just gonna
this
have
helpful.
hands like he's gonna have hands like ace, jack with the ace of spades sometimes. Like, it's just, we're ahead of so much here. Like,
Queen, jack, jack ten.
queen,
stuff that
jack is
like
yeah.
Okay, this helpful. Thanks.
It's
Jack
getting dicey though.
nine.
It's definitely getting dicey though. Like, the queen of spades is the,
It's not
I
dicey
think
at all.
what
We're
I think
earning
what Louis
13
just said
chips.
makes a lot of sense. It's probably less dicey than it looks because he's got to have some sort of combo draw to really do this with a spade draw.
yeah, I mean, all I'm saying dicey wise is like, even like, we're ahead. It's just a large swath of his range has pretty strong equity against our hand now.
Yeah,
Yes.
but with two pair, we're always willing to put it on the barbecue.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is one of the ones that, like, in theory, you probably fold, but I'd play limp. You just gave 9 deuce, free chips, call. Alright, this is boomerangish. You might
Nope,
raise it
it's
some, no?
not boomerangish, but what if you had 9-5?
Oh my god, are you really gonna act like there's a big difference between 9-5 and 9-6, Louis?
I'm not acting. There is a big difference.
Alright, here, give me a lesson. What's the big difference?
Well, just look at the range and look at the EVs on just the range right here. So go to AV from strategy and put the numbers.
9-5, 9-6, huh? It's a huge difference.
There is something here. Look at this. Look at the gap in EV.
Yeah, so the 6 is just like absolute value, a little bit better.
Absolute value. You said it.
If you continue along the line, it's the connection to the straight, right?
Yeah.
Like ace, like 9-7 is much stronger than 9-6, and 9-3 is just a barbecue fest.
Mm-hmm. Alright, you dirty limper, what are you doing now? I'm betting one. I'm betting one.
Yeah, it's kind of an attractive bet, wrapped around the 8, backdoors, low showdown value.
Right, a 5's good, a 7's good.
We can get some easy folds from some like unconnected 10x, jack x, queen x from him.
It's like king low low as well, so I think we bet a lot.
So Louis, you've said this a couple times. You said king low low. This looks like king medium low. Is there?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
am I
this is a
missing?
low card. Somebody said it was medium. For me,
I just said it
medium
was.
is like a 10, a jack, a 9.
It's a little bit of splitting
It's either
hairs, to be
Broadway or
honest.
it's not.
There you go, Danny. There you
So
go.
I guess can we drill down on that a little bit? Because a lot of this, like what doesn't continue in this blind versus blind stuff are the more traditional definition of low cards. So isn't there a big difference between an 8 and a 3?
There
Um,
is a big difference between 8 and a 3.
There
I
is,
mean,
because 3 is really like, it misses everyone's range, whereas the 8 is like, in the mix, it's the bottom of the raising range for EP. But it's also almost a K card for the blind, so.
see, it's a weird though, cuz you can't completely say that because you're playing a limp check pot. Like, he has basically 100, he has 100% of cards here.
Yeah,
So it's like, how do you really range that? It becomes more of like the value kind of your cards and like what he's not. Well, I mean, okay, so you can look at what he didn't raise. So you can start like giving him a weight towards trash, I would guess.
Like you can
And
pull out
like,
like ace, king, but he still has like king deuce.
yes.
What I heard Louis say was, I want to bundle the 8s and the 4s in the way I think about them, but I'm not going to bundle, but I'm going to include the 3s and the 2s are just trash.
yeah,
Okay, I got it. Thanks.
yeah, and, point that Galen has been hammering in the last few weeks, that if a turn comes a deuce or a 3, it's a total brick, you're in position, you were barreling before. Maybe it's a good idea to barrel again, because it's not a card that changes equity whatsoever. So if you
Mm.
hit it, you still have it.
So how did you program the computer to give you an example of that while you were saying it? It was a 3 king.
I think
That was pretty cool.
if you look at turn reports.
No, I was just joking that a 3 came out while you were saying that. As you were saying that you.
Oh, yeah, no. I don't control that. So this card It's
Well,
not,
you just said you would barrel that, right? Did we bet the flop? Yeah.
well, in position as the aggressor. Now we're out of
Oh.
position and we bet one. Are we really the aggressor? Maybe we are, but. You know, it started pretty passive as well, so.
I mean,
Well,
the only challenge I have is the calculus of all of that aggressing and continuing with threes and stuff changes a little bit when he has like full weight of threes in his range.
That's right.
So like this three actually may be like more asymmetrically good for him than it is for us because we fold so many threes.
That's right. Usually the tree is a break, but here it's full time in range, so we need to.
Yeah, like dude could have 8-3 here. Like dude could have 4-3. Dude could have 3-5.
Whereas if you get a tree button versus big blind, it's a very different kind of spot.
Yes, exactly.
100%.
So the fact of the matter is we still have 9 high to deal with here. We bet one on the flop. Are we going to continue the story here? Or are we just gonna,
I guess
Yeah,
we
bl-
gotta get this spot.
are we gonna give it up? I
No.
don't know the answer.
We gotta get this spot, man.
I'm kinda with you, man. I don't like giving up that easy. I don't know if I wanna go 5 big blinds, but I could definitely, I
Whoa,
could split
whoa,
the
whoa, whoa.
difference at
I think we
3-3.
need to be convincing here, do we not?
Let's slow
You
down a little
do.
bit though. So, okay, so part of the value of betting flop was that we had hearts, but hearts didn't come in. There's a whole draw around the 4 and the 3, and we block a piece of it, but we don't actually have any of it. It's like we don't,
Mhm.
there's no river that gives us a straight. The absolute best river in the deck gives us a 9.
Bluff equity, Tim.
Damn.
Bluff
I mean,
equity.
sure,
Tim,
but
we're
like,
not gonna invite you at the next party, I can tell you
but we
that.
have 7-5 in range. We have, I mean, we got all kinds of shit.
Yeah, like you could, you have 6-7 here, which has picked up some equity.
Not
Uh,
invited at the next party, Tim.
5-6,
Thank you very much.
5-6 has got some, but it's just plain check, you know? The
And we're
voice.
deep enough that like we can go big and still keep polarizing into the river. We still wanna barrel spades. It's just we
Do
have
you-
too many
do you-
bluffs if we're bluffing this.
So this looks like a fairly high bluffing spot, but not with 9-6. You have to have something that's gonna, has a. proven
Yeah.
capability.
I agree, I agree.
Like a single spade, maybe, just anything. And yeah,
And, you know, like, if we're gonna get to brass tacks about it, I think having the hearts is just bad when we bet and he continues. Cause then we're blocking his like loose continues on the flop and it's like, you know, like, what are we doing here?
So Tim, why does
Are you guys looking at
having a
this?
single spade help there? Because I mean, aren't you blocking?
Hang on, just a quick question. Are you guys saying this looking at the sim or just like?
No,
talking
no, I
out
don't
loud?
think so.
No, I'm just
I
spitballing,
just like,
man.
so many of these
Oh.
spots, it's actually just like, you just bet your equity, kind of, you know, you just like, if you have something to go with, you go with it. And if you have nothing, then you just like, say you have better hands in range. It's okay.
That's
If
right.
we turned to 7 or a 5, maybe we could have barreled, but like, I think those are the 2 cards you barrel on.
What's
Everything else,
9,
but-
what do we have? 9-5 or 9-6? I don't remember.
We have 9.
And 6, cuz
9-6.
9-5 would have been raising pre-flop.
Yeah, that's
So Louis,
right.
look on the offsuit side, look at
Okay.
something like, look at something,
What do you wanna look at, Tim?
see like if there's some single spade bluffs. So it looks like that's gonna be like jack 9, 10, 9. Looks
There's
like
not a
gonna be
lot,
some-
man. Like you got a little queen 3 in there getting excited, it looks like, but,
Yeah, but that's a pair. I bet jack 9, 10, 9. I bet those are. some
oh,
single
queen
spade
3 is a
bluffs.
pair. Jack, okay, jack deuce then.
Yeah. Louis, look, hover over jack 9, 10, 9. Yep, single spade.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a big part of our strategy, but looks like we're very focused on the straight draw, which makes sense.
this may be like right below the raising threshold. Might be like a smidge trashy. Maybe you play like limp raise with a limp raise bluff with a combo like this sometimes, but I would probably just call, I think.
Full frequency.
Bet 2. Okay, I make a mistake and I think I bet 1 here too much and I lose value, so I would bet 2.
You say 2, but what if the answer was 3?
Well, maybe you're right, Louis. Maybe I'm just not greedy enough.
I would say 3 for
One.
more like double straight draw boards, like some
Yeah.
king 10-7.
Yeah,
like that.
maybe maybe there needs to be a little more connectivity and a little more flush. Like maybe like a two-tone board, you'll see some elevated
old-
sizings.
Good old Jack 10 low.
King 10-7, and then, what was it? King 10-4? With
I
a
think
flush draw, maybe?
yeah. Okay, yeah, you're seeing the frequency go up, but the sizing's not really doing
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
You
yeah.
had a little bit more bigger sizings on the. double
Whenever
straight
we
draw. King
limp
10-7
from the
had more.
small blind, it seems to be always that, right? We never go polar.
You don't need to. It's kinda like, again, I reference back to the button cutoff strategy, like. Often you can just range bet small a lot of spots. It's very effective. I guess we're seeing some of that heuristical
Yeah.
strategy.
Yeah, so it's pretty much always the same, right? Pretty big blind.
I would
versus
say
big blind.
typically, yeah, I haven't really seen too many outliers yet. I would feel comfortable just implementing it as a general strategy.
So one,
So we do what?
on a turn, oh my goodness, we have a diamond. Five,
I'm kind of like in 3.3 neighborhood, I think, if we calls. No, it checks. Look at that.
Now, why
the
does it
weakest
check?
king,
It's gonna put some top pairs in the checking range sometimes, so like, it's just maybe the weakest, one of the
Yeah.
weakest ones.
Yeah,
And
weak
that's,
kicker, kicker's too weak, look at this.
yeah, so. Basically below the five and below. 6 is two pairs, 7 is strong enough, 8 is strong enough.
It's
So
kind of
any-
interesting because the way I was thinking about this, and I think this is where is that, he's continuing with, tens enough that even the weak kings are kind of strong, but I guess I'm wrong.
It's because of the sizing. Like we want to use, when we bet, we want to use 150% sizing here. So we're super polarized. So the stuff that's in the middle of our range, which is the weak kings, doesn't get to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, and see, honestly, thinking about these spots, like. There's some like high level stuff that goes on with the solver and balancing ranges and these small bets and being protected against. Like some of their traps and things that
It
I-
might
I-
not be as necessary,
I'm
right?
just on the fence about how applicable. That is in real life. I don't know enough one way or. To say one way or the other.
Yep.
Like you might be completely fine just triple barreling off a king here, targeting a 10 that's gonna call. Or whatever, but, I don't know.
2.5 chips.
Oh, it's betting here.
Yep.
Wants to
Yeah,
bet
but I actually think
big.
I like the mix to the check because in real life, a lot of the trashier tens might not make it this far. So I think the weak kicker with the king might be better off as a
Yeah,
small value
perhaps.
bet.
Yeah, when you check, you can probably go for value with a queen here too, right?
I like raising this one.
What about king five?
I still like raising king 5. I draw the line between 4 and 5 sometimes.
I think king five is a pure limp.
Is it? Might be.
No, it's the highest frequency rate, it's king four.
Yeah, king 4 and 5, yeah. Okay, so here, this is like. Playing the reverse node. We're not raising a ton of 10s and 9s like in connected cards, but he's calling a lot.
Check.
So I'm gonna be a little more risk averse on a texture like this.
We have the spade.
We do, now that's the counter bit of that is we do have the 6 of spades. So I don't know. My default is just to bet small, relentless aggression, but thinking like a little more nuanced about the spot, I might. Checking's a competitive option, I think.
You ever going pot there?
Not without the king, maybe with the king of spades. I don't know about with the six. Well, hey, you're right, man. It does do some polar stuff here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he has top two pair. You're right. I know. We lose.
Oh my goodness. Why have I done that?
Yeah, and see, this is some of the stuff I was kind of talking about, like. You know. If they're not balanced here with bluffs and this is only value in game. Like I kinda like betting smaller, maybe a little bit more, just cuz you're not gonna get as punished, maybe. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I think defaulting to check is probably a safe bet here. You block the straight continues, you wanna bet larger, yeah, yep. I know. Yeah, you just got queen jacked. Up. Alright, I like limp jamming, these lowish pairs. At this stacked up.
He heard you.
I know, I said it too loud.
He got scared.
Bet one or check. Alright, you check, so now you're committing to checking it down, I guess, or bet, I don't know, you might bet one here, like,
I'm okay with that.
yeah,
can
same
bet
difference. It's check or bet one. Try to play very safe. There's a chance V has higher straights. Yep, that's true. Just show it down. You've committed to showing it down, so we're gonna show it down. Queen deuce is gonna be a limp.
Yes, too weak. Alright. I wanna keep some time to review hands now.